I have a brain tumor. I forget how to walk. I need a new heart.
Every year, over 1,000 kids will spend Halloween in Sick Kids Hospital. They will miss out on time that could be spent with family and friends. Your donations can help sick kids get children back home with their families where they belong. Please visit our website or call in to donate today.
Because there's no place like home.
Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. This is our October 3rd filming. I'm Yolanda Greaves and I have my guest co-host back, Joe Mignani.
Thank you, Yolanda. Nice to be back again. Thank you for inviting me. And
thanks.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming. We have a great show lined up. We're going to talk to Steve Greenberg, and he's going to talk to us about a couple different things. The first is affordable housing, and he's on the committee, as are you. So I look forward to a lively discussion there.
We have a lot to talk about, and it's a lot of positive things, which is good. So
great. And Steve's also going to talk to us about the Ashland Half Marathon, which is coming up at the end of the month.
Right.
So that should be fun. We're also bringing Chris Briggs from the Comprehensive Plan Committee to the show today to talk about all the activity with that committee. And we're also going to show you some information on Spirit Week that's happening at the high school at the end of October. So stay tuned. We have a lot coming up, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Around the Clock. We are going into our Selectmen's Update. We had a very good meeting on Wednesday. We meet on Wednesdays. On Wednesday, October 1st, it was the first Wednesday in October. We had a full agenda, as it's been lately. We've been having some long nights.
Yes. To the point where Tony can't go to Dairy Queen at the end of the meeting.
I know.
He's all upset about that, so I had to throw that in there, Tony.
I think we saved him from himself, though. I think he appreciated it.
I think he does, too, yeah.
So we started the meeting with a couple of scheduled hearings. Our first was a liquor license hearing for one of the retail spaces next to Dairy Queen. A person is looking for one of our beer and wine licenses. We have two available. So it's a store that would just sell beer and wine. So we had some questions and thoughts on it, Joe?
Well, it's a very interesting location for the beer and wine to be there. I know there was a lot of questions and a lot of concerns by other residents in town and other businesses in town that were saturating a location along 126 with beer and wine and full pouring licenses, as well as restaurants that had their full liquor licenses. So you have a gambit of the opportunity for an individual to go to sit down and eat and drink, or to go to a package store to buy their beverages and take it home, or just go to a beer and wine shop and get their customized wine and or beer on one very close area within a mile stretch of one another. But that's what competition's all about.
Right.
This country was based on competitive competition to support businesses and to help one another in respect to that. So you can't use that as an argument that
right.
This area is saturated, even though that is a concern. People are going to shop where they want to shop, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
I mean, if you have a rapport with one establishment more than another, you're going to continue going to there because we're creatures of habit. I've seen that when I used to work in a package store downtown, and it would be the same people in and out every day, or
right.
Every other day when they would come in and get their beverages. So I'm glad we took the time to sit down and we continued it to our next meeting on the 15th. So we're always looking for input from those people that are in and around there. And I know there were some neighbors who were concerned about traffic flow and everything else, and that was my concern.
Right.
And I know that's not something that we have a preview to, but it was still a concern for us, for me anyway. And it's a tight fit to get in there, but at the same token, you cannot. To me, I don't think you can deny somebody the opportunity to try to get the American dream and have a business and
right.
try to help themselves.
Right, so we've continued to the next meeting, and then we'll make a decision. We also had Fusion Cuisine come before us for an entertainment license, and that brought, again, all kinds of discussion because of some of the issues that they've been having.
Right, and the new manager was unable to attend, so his, and so, I mean, at some point in time, they'll understand that, you know, he has to make it, you know, a presentation and be present to discuss that. You can't substitute somebody for being there. So I'm glad we held off on that. And they have a lot to prove, in my estimation, in my mind anyway. I think that location has a lot to prove, and I think the neighbors need to see that and be reassured as well that, you know, granted they're changing, and you know, it happens over a long period of time, not in 2 or 3 months. So if they can show that you know, they're on the up and up and do what they need to do to keep undesirables from their location, and the neighbors see that as well, because I believe it was you that may have asked one of the residents that came up and spoke against it, you know, what have you seen change in a positive way?
Right.
And she was very, very honest, and she said it's slowly getting better, but it's not where it should be.
Right.
And so, you know, they're the ones that are impacted by what goes on over there. We don't live in that area, but at the same token, we have to listen to what the neighbors have to say, and she was the spokesperson for that particular area. And you know, so we take that all into consideration when we make a decision. And I think the board, I can't speak for everybody, but I know how I felt, that, you know, I think they need to prove themselves a little bit more with respect to that.
And they also have to bring us back some more information. So we also extended that hearing to the next meeting, so that they could present a better plan as to what they want to do.
Right, the plan that they provided us, the interior design plan, didn't really show what they wanted to do. So until they come back with a more detailed...
and a more thought-out plan.
Right, so we needed to know where the entertainment was going to go based inside the building, if it's on the 126th side of the road, or is it along Douglas Road, or for that matter, so that way, is the noise going to bounce back and affect those people that live on Douglas? If it's directed at 126, well, you just have traffic and you have another business across the street, so really it's not going to affect that one that bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a spirited discussion as well.
And then we had, again, this is the kinds of stuff that I enjoy when, you know, as a member of the Board of Selectmen. We had Dan Borelli, and he gave us information about his Nyanza art project. He was given a federal grant to come in and use color to demonstrate the impact of the Nyanza plant. And it was just interesting what he's looking to do, and it was nice to be able to support that.
Dan's a wonderful young man. I've known Dan and his family for years. His dad owns Well right on Pleasant Street, that building area there, which used to be the old Little League field, which abutted the Derby Company when it was in operation, and we used to see the different colors. And that's why it's kind of poetic justice that you know, it was a dye company that, you know, infiltrated with all these different toxins, and now he's doing a color representation of what went on over there. So I guess it's poetic justice, but this is going to be beautiful, and I wish Dan the very best, and I look forward to seeing the finished product.
Yeah, I look forward to following how he works on it, and it'll be nice because they'll be bringing some of the information and some of the visuals to the Ashland Library, in the old part of the library, and then there'll also be some kind of outdoor presentation and display. So
that's awesome. Hopefully
in the spring we'll be able to see that. Ale House came before us as well. They're looking to do an event on October 18th. They're doing an Oktoberfest.
Which is probably a good time of year.
Yep. And just to extend, so they're going to put up a tent next to the Ale House to do an Oktoberfest kind of event.
Like a beer tasting.
Yeah, beer tasting. They're also going to be using Jack's Abbey, and we'll be hearing about them with Steve Greenberg later today as well. Good. We approved some minutes. We appointed Mr. Knifton to the Warrenwood Ad Hoc Committee, and we appointed Amy Syed to the Open Space and Recreation Committee. So those committees are pretty much full. I think.
And they're both good compliments to each of the committees that they were assigned to. I know that they've attended several meetings prior to being appointed, and so they definitely saw an interest of being there and getting involved. And I know Larry from way back. He's a good kid, and yeah, he has personal background and history with respect to, because we all worked up at the Warren Center at one point in time in our youth. So yeah, it'll be closing the circle, full circle with Larry.
Good.
I look forward to seeing them on there.
And then, one of the bigger appointments, this was a town manager appointment, we filled in our last open spot on our police department.
Finally.
Yes.
Finally, which is great. And Adolfo Ramirez, Officer Ramirez, transferred from Lynn. He comes from Ashland originally. He grew up here a little bit and was here for, I can't remember, 4 or 5 years. And then for whatever reasons, they had to move out. And he wants to come back and raise his family, which I think is wonderful. And I wish him the very best. And just be safe out there.
Yeah.
All I can ask you to do. He's a good kid and he'll complement the department very well. He is the first Spanish-speaking
Right.
officer
Bilingual.
that we have, bilingual, and
Yeah.
he speaks Portuguese as well, so which is very helpful with the influx of Brazilian residents that are in and around the area. So wish him well.
And the thing to remember is that this is not a new position.
Right.
We are just now filling all the vacancies that had been on our department for the
Correct.
longest time.
Right. I believe we have 24 full-time police officers. We haven't added another 10, so it's not 34. It's still the original 24.
Right.
So if everybody gets all up in arms about it, no, it's just filling things, especially those who retired.
Right.
I don't know who that may have been,
Oh,
but yeah.
those retirees.
Those retirees, whoever they were, but as Steve kept patting me on the back, retirees, yes. That was a year ago, folks, so it's been a long
Yeah,
time.
it's hard to believe
I
that
know.
you've been retired for
A
over
year.
a year.
Kind of hard to tell, I know. I grow a beard, but first thing I did was grow a beard.
And then we had some old new business. We made some changes with our town council fee, so it's still the same town council.
Yep.
But as Tony and Mike, our town manager and assistant town manager, are trying to look at how we expend our money, they just found a better way to work with our legal team and be on more of a a monthly fee rather
Right.
than every phone call. And
Right, be
so I
charged
think that's
with it.
great.
And I think that's smart management, and I'm glad that Tony and Mike thought about doing something like that. I mean, I saw Lisa that Wednesday morning, and I thanked her for doing it free of charge. and she was a little, what do you mean? I said, oh, you didn't read the fine print. But no, I think what they're doing is a great idea, and again, it saves the town money, and that's what Tony and Mike have been doing right along. And it's a little, every little bit counts towards, putting it back into the general fund to help keep things on an even keel.
Right.
Because times are coming that things are going to get worse instead of better. Hopefully they do get better, but we're looking at financial aid from the state that may not be
Right.
the amounts of monies that we hoped they would be. But it's an election year, so after the election year, things
We'll
do
see.
change quickly.
We'll see what happens come
So,
January.
right.
Yep. Then we talked about the Board of Health vacancy, and we'll be working with the Board of Health to fill that spot. We talked a little bit about charter review and getting people who would like to be involved on the charter review committee. So if that's something that interests you, we're looking for volunteers, talent bank forms, for people to come and do the charter review.
Right. And the charter is online, so if you needed
Right.
to, read it over to get an idea and understanding of what's going on, and if you feel something may be out of line or needs to be updated, this would be the time to address those issues and be part of that committee.
Yeah. Yep. We talked a little bit about the school roofs. We had to do a few changes there based on some new heating ducts and things on the roofs. And then we also had to re-sign some of the paperwork because it came in less than expected.
Right, which is
Under
always
budget.
a nice thing.
Yes,
Which is
under
always a nice
budget.
thing. So hopefully,
Yeah.
Eric did a good job in maintaining and monitoring what's going on up there. He's doing very well with respect to that project.
Yep.
So
And we did a little bit of discussion about the town meeting warrant, and we'll be closing that at our next meeting on October 15th.
15th.
And it's not going to be a short meeting, I think. There's not a lot on the agenda and on the town meeting warrant, but that will be online come after our October 15th meeting when we approve it.
right.
So you can look at that. We got a little bit of a quiet zone update. I mean, it was amazing the amount of information we got and how long these projects take.
They take so long. I mean, it's 4 or 5 years since the inception of this project, and it's still. I guess that's what happens when you get the feds involved, the federal group
Right.
involved, and the states involved. I mean, process after process after process. So it's slow going at the time, but it's still going. It's proceeding, but it's not
Right.
going as quickly as we would like it to.
Right.
And people understand this. It has nothing to do with us. It has to do with the process that we have to follow from the state regulations and the federal regulations that we have to follow their mandates.
Yep. One of the other things we talked about was the regional fire presentation. So that's the presentation between the Board of Selectmen in Ashland, the Board of Selectmen in Hopkinton, discussing making a joint fire department, and that'll be happening Tuesday, October 14th. Yep. And that was it. Even though it was full, not too many things on the agenda. So.
No, we wish everyone well, and it was a good meeting. I thought it was a very good meeting. A lot of good discussion and a lot of good feedback with respect to some of the residents that were there, that came for those hearings, and they're not afraid to ask questions, and they're not afraid to give us their point of view as to how it goes, and that's what we want. We need that.
Right.
I mean, if we don't hear from the residents and our constituents as to what's going on out there in their aspect of it, we need to hear from them.
Right.
And there's venues. I mean, they can call us, they can email us. I mean, it's all on the link if they want to do that. I mean, my number's in the phone book. I know your number's in the phone book.
Mine's in the phone book, and I tell people that all the time.
Same here. I mean, I did that when I was a police officer for 36 years. Because if I was the juvenile officer and if someone had an issue, you call me. I'd rather have them call me than call a stranger.
Right.
And I still feel that way today. So.
Good. Okay. Well, that's our Selectmen's update today. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Steve Greenberg.
Garfield and the National Safety Council have some tips for a safe Halloween. Wear brightly colored costumes, short enough to prevent tripping.
I'm wearing this orange cat costume.
Use face makeup or wear masks that are easy to see out of. Trick or treat in daylight and only visit the homes of people you know.
'Cause you know they'll give you more treats.
Finally, only give or accept tightly wrapped candy.
And use proper trick-or-treating etiquette. Gimme.
Welcome back to Around the Clock. We are moving into our segment with a committee member, and we have Steve Greenberg from the Affordable Housing Trust in front of us. He is here to talk about what the Affordable Housing Trust is doing here in town, and the fortunate thing is that Joe Mignani is also on that. So, Steve, welcome.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you for having me, and I'm glad Joe's here too to help talk about what's going on with the Affordable Trust and the Affordable Housing Committee also.
Great. So, tell us a little bit about first start with what the Affordable Housing Trust and Committee are for the residents.
Well, the Affordable Housing Committee has been around in Ashland for quite a while, and it was the Affordable Housing Committee that first started with the development of what's known now as Robert Hill Way off of Oak Street and Independence, and hopefully we're in the final throes of that, and we're looking forward to some sort of resolution and getting senior affordable housing developed there off of Robert Hill Way. And that was, again, started by the Affordable Housing Committee. And we also have in town, which was approved at town meeting a few years ago, the Affordable Housing Trust.
Yep.
And right now, there are only 3 members. I think we have, what, Joe, 2 vacancies? 2
vacancies, yes.
Right now, the trust is made up of myself, Joe, and Paul Monaco. The trust, the way it was established here in town, requires 2 selectmen. And we had some vacancies created, and we're looking forward to filling those sometime soon. But as far as the Housing Committee, that's another position that Joe has volunteered himself for. And so that'll be great. That'll be more strength to the committee. But as far as what the trust does, the trust has bought and resold, I think we're on our 7th or 8th transaction at America's Boulevard. What happens is, back 6 or 8 years ago when the Fafford condo developments were first up and going, 10% of all that stock, all those units, has to be sold as affordable. And one thing that one of our Affordable Housing Committee members suggested is that we change the name from Affordable Housing Committee or Affordable Housing Trust to Affordable Workforce and Senior Housing, because I think people have a misconception of affordable. And what we're trying to promote as committee members is housing for the kind of folks that need a fresh start or a new opportunity to get involved with home ownership. So where the current stock of units being sold at America's Boulevard, for example, 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, you're looking at $325,000 to $360,000, $365,000 for a market unit. The affordable units are sold based on federal and state guidelines, they go for about 173 to 180,000 with reduced taxes and reduced condo fees. So who qualifies for that? That would be a new teacher, a new policeman, a new fireman, somebody starting their first job. Depends on the size of your family. And the state and the federal guidelines are pretty generous as to what you can make in terms of salary. So someone making somewhere between $40,000 and $60,000 a year would qualify for one of our units. So right now it's been one at a time in terms of availability, mostly resales. But what's going to happen in the near future, the market has changed. Fafford is building more and more units. So they've probably permitted maybe 25, 30 units. So at some point in the near future, I would say that maybe 3 to 5 units will be coming on the market.
So to add to the 7 that are there.
Add to the, well, the 7 were just resales.
Okay.
So, I mean, let's say that there's, just as a number, there's 400 units over there. 40 of those
Are affordable.
would be affordable.
Okay.
So 6 years ago, for example, we had a lottery. A person would win the lottery, buy the unit. And I said this in another show. Basically, what happens here in town with Fafford units, a single person wins the lottery, gets the unit. They get married, they make a baby, great. They make a second baby, time to go. So that's where the trust steps in. And what happens is these folks want to buy another home. They want their own yard, they want their own fence,
Right.
They want the American dream. So this is what's great about the program is it gives them that start. So they built some equity in the affordable unit, but they want to buy something, so we help in that transition. The trust will step up, buy the unit, then we will resell it to another qualified buyer.
Right.
So we just had a unit, it was very, very rewarding in that it was a single gentleman, bought it 6 years ago, got married. They had their first child. She, I think, just delivered twins 4 or 5 days ago. So we bought their unit. They moved into the new home. They now have 3 children, and they're in their nice house, and they stayed here in town too, which is
nice.
very, very nice.
Yeah.
So that feels good, and I think that's part of what the program is geared to do, is to help young folks or folks who are just starting. We have that same unit is under contract right now with a senior who has some challenges with one of her children, and the unit just works out perfect for her. And so at the end of the day, it all feels good, and it adds to the neighborhood.
And I think the thing, for a lot of people, when you say the words affordable housing, it has a very negative connotation. But if you drive through that neighborhood, there's no way to tell who has paid full market and who is in an affordable unit. They look exactly the same. And these are just people who might be, as you said, starting out, lower income. Not that they can't make the income, they just haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Well, my wife made me promise years ago not to say anymore at town meeting that it's not drive-by shootings, it's not clotheslines, it's it's not drug deals, it's your average working person.
Right.
And the state actually set it up so that in the construction, it's impossible to tell from the outside which are the market units and which are the affordable units. When they first started building America's Boulevard, the town planner, Steve Curlin, asked me to get in the car with him. We took a ride up, and he said, "Can you tell which are the affordable units and which aren't?" And I said, "Well, there's no vent coming out of that unit through the roof, because the affordable units do not have the gas fireplaces. They don't have the gas inserts."
Oh, okay.
So Steve took it upon himself to let the developer know that even though they don't have a gas insert, he wanted a pipe covered out of the roof, so that you can't tell. Right. So, and you see a lot of young people there. You see a lot of folks with dogs. You see a lot of folks with kids. A lot of walkers. My wife and I live on the corner as you first come in from one of the entrances, and I think it was some Saturday night during the summer. There were a bunch of folks playing cricket over in commercial area at America's Boulevard. So, you know, there's a nice neighborhood feel there. It's one morning we thought we were part of the movie Transformers because there was some huge piece of equipment outside at 7 o'clock, as they're allowed to do.
Right.
You know, building more units. So there's more going on there. A lot of activity, and we should have more affordable units coming online.
Great.
Some of the other things, if I could, that
Yeah,
are going
please.
on.
What else are you guys working
on? What else are we working on? We've
Something else that has been in the news before is Cherry Street.
Cherry Street.
Cherry Street.
Affordable?
Right. We recently did an RFP for Cherry Street. Unfortunately, the parcel's a little small. So in our meetings, Joe and I and Paul have discussed other potential things to do there at Cherry Street, maybe in conjunction with some other property, maybe something with the town parking lot, maybe a little bit of private and public ventures. A local property owner right there near Town Hall met with town manager, myself, we had an architect there, and some folks from the planning department. So we're trying to get some traction there to do more in the downtown area, specifically with Cherry Street. And again, maybe it's going to be a combination of market and affordable, maybe there'll be a commercial piece of it, but it's all a matter of if we can get the grant or not to work on some planning. So that's Cherry Street. And what else, Joe? Is there some
else are you guys working
other?
on?
Well, we were looking at and helping, I know we'll be discussing it on the warrant article, but we were helping with the situation on Ashland.
On the Ashland Housing Authority.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Myself, Joe, and Assistant Town Manager Michael Herbert, and Tim Connors, who a member of the Community Preservation Act Committee, a few months ago, met with the Executive Director, Doris McNamara, of the Housing Authority.
Now, this is the buildings across from Stone Park.
Right
Correct.
on Park
Okay.
Road.
Right on
Correct.
Park Road.
Right
Yep.
right up on the tracks,
Yep.
and across from Stone Park. And it's a very dated community, and they're small units. There are 40 units there. We had our tour, and very serious need for new entry doors, which are steel doors with side lights and unit windows. Unfortunately, because it is a state and Ashland Town owned through the Housing Authority, which gets a little complicated. The deed is to the Housing Authority, but the state regulates. So when the state's involved, it drives the cost of repairs
A little bit higher.
it makes it very, very high, very challenging. So we had presented, we being the Housing Trust, presented to the Community Preservation Act Committee a proposal to do both windows and doors. And it was close to $300,000 in expense. And what the Community Preservation Act Committee voted to do was, at this point, just to do the doors.
Okay.
So once that does hopefully get approved at town meeting, the state will take over, and hopefully those folks will have new doors. And then as we go further down the road, maybe we'll be able to work on the windows. But that's something else the trust has been working on.
Because if I understand correctly, the amount of money currently sitting in CPA or the Community Preservation Act funds for affordable housing is pretty high.
Yeah, it's extremely high. I mean, it's over $1 million. As we all know, a lot of money has come out of open space and historical as of late. And some folks are critical of the fact that there's a bit of money
Right, for
there.
affordable.
And I guess my response to that is, well, if there's a big project that comes down the line, then
Right,
we'll have the
we'll
money
have the
to do
funds to do
something.
that. Okay.
So whether it's Cherry Street and downtown parking and a private public, or whatever the case might be, you know, we'll have the funding there to hopefully do some good, you know, for the town.
And then
And
maybe in the future, we could do the windows at that space.
That would be the optimal thing to do. But unfortunately, like Steve said, when the state gets involved, the pricing and the costs just escalate to the point where it's just, we wish the state couldn't get involved in it.
Yeah,
You
Right.
know,
yeah.
and it makes it more difficult. And you know, the CPC, you know, question that, and you know, it's out of our hands.
Right.
It comes out of our hands, and this is, the state mandates, these are what you have to do, these are the rules you have to follow, regulations you have to follow. We can't cut corners to do that. We have to make sure we follow the rules and regulations, or else we lose out on grants or any other funding that comes down the road.
Yeah.
if we don't
Somewhat
do it
similar, and you would know, Yolanda, from your experience on the school committee, when the school does the roof. I mean,
Right.
You've got prevailing wage, you've got an architect to oversee the architect, so it
Right.
just pushes the
Right.
I mean, good for the economy in certain respects, but not so good for
the
for
dollars that we're looking
Yes,
to spend.
absolutely.
Right.
But one good thing is we'll have new doors over there if it passes a town meeting, which I hope it
Right.
does. And that'll be great for those folks that live there, and I think it's helping to maintain and preserve an asset in the town of Ashland.
Now, do we own that property?
That's a good question. And that's a question that we can't answer because
Uh-oh.
we've asked that question,
Yeah.
and there's some cloudy waters in
Okay.
with respect to that.
The Ashland Housing Authority,
I know manages it and
they
runs it.
they manage it, and the deed is into the Housing Authority, but somewhat similar to the Redevelopment Authority here in town, it's a state entity.
I
Even though it's
see.
the Ashland Housing Authority,
Okay.
they're controlled by the state.
Okay, well, maybe that's a long-term look at.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because certainly now, does it count toward our affordable housing
Absolutely.
percentage? Okay,
absolutely.
so that's
And the
good.
fact that it's rentals, it's 100% towards the housing stock, which
Okay.
is mandated at 10%, and unfortunately, the town is less than 4%.
Right, we're low.
Right, but if I could use that as a segue into the next topic as far as affordable housing, the comprehensive plan, which you're involved in. That was funded by the Housing Trust, and we hope to have an affordable housing plan that will come out of that consultant. And with that plan in place and approved by the state, we'll have a little more control over the 40B housing
Right,
stock.
which is one of the good reasons that we're doing that affordable housing plan, so
Yes.
that we're not just being told, okay, if 40B comes in, you have to let them do it.
Right,
So,
right.
good,
Gives the town a little more control.
great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing.
Well, thanks for that update on
My pleasure.
affordable housing. We
Thanks
are
for
going to
asking.
take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, Steve will still be sitting with us, but we're going to take a slightly different route. We'll be talking about the Ashland Half Marathon. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Garfield and the National Safety Council have some tips for a safe Halloween. Wear brightly colored costumes, short enough to prevent tripping.
I'm wearing this orange cat costume.
Use face makeup or wear masks that are easy to see out of. Trick or treat in daylight and only visit the homes of people you know.
'Cause you know they'll give you more treats.
Finally, only give or accept tightly wrapped candy.
And use proper trick-or-treating etiquette. Gimme.
Welcome back to Around the Clock. We are still here with Steve Greenberg and Joe and I. And we're changing hats on Steve, though he didn't bring a different hat to wear.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And we're going to talk about the half marathon
Okay.
that is sponsored by the Ashland Sporting
Association.
Association.
Yes.
So, first of all, when is it happening this year?
This year, same as every year, the past 3 years is our third annual, October 26th, 2014. The race will start at 10:30 at the original starting line of the Boston Marathon dating back to 1897 through 1923. That's just in front of the VFW on Pleasant Street. And we're hoping for a great crowd. We added a second race back in March of this year called the Marathon Park Prep. So this would be our second race for 2014. And it's, Joe, his involvement with Ashland Day, how many years, Joe?
29.
29? This is third or fourth year. It feels like 29 years to be involved in the half marathon. But,
Hopefully not.
Right, but we've got a great committee, local folks who care. And it's fun to see folks from different parts of the state, different parts of the country. We've even had folks from as far away as Japan and Greece in the past. Truthfully, this year, this event, numbers are down. And I was on the phone this morning with the woman who does the timing for the event. And she said that's across the board. And what's happening is more and more communities are taking on more and more races. I think we talked about
Yeah.
this the other night.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of half marathons, but there are a lot of 5Ks and other distances. So that sort of erodes our registration. But we still expect to have close to 1,000 people there. We've got a lot of great vendors. Middlesex Bank, is very, very supportive. Main Street Wine and Spirits, very supportive, as they've always been in the past.
Right.
So expecting a great crowd again this year.
Now, I know the last 2 years you've had some other events besides just the race. Bill Rogers would come out.
Yes.
I know last year he had a showing of his film and a book signing. Anything planned like that for this year?
We kept it somewhat simple this year, again, because we kind of felt registration might be down. We experimented a little bit this registration with some, not exactly sure how to verbalize this, but we want to give people an opportunity to build a team. And if that team represents a nonprofit, we would contribute some of the proceeds from their registration towards their nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
So we're experimenting with it this event, but we expect in March to be much more formal about that.
So
we became a 501c3.
similar to how, like the Boston Marathon, there are teams that can run and.
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
and the runners might not have to have the same time or something like that?
No,
or?
it's just a matter of if you build a team, and if you get more than 5 members of that team, the captain runs for free, and we will donate $5 towards every registration for the 5K, and $10 towards every registration for the half marathon. So we have a canine rescue club, for example. So that's their cause. They're a registered 501c3. So we will cut. It'll be a small check, but meanwhile it'll be a check. Genzyme, believe it or not, is I think one of the larger teams that we have registered right now. So, you know, we want more registration, we want more teams, we want more runners, but we don't just want to take. We want to be able to give. So that's fun. And you know, everybody's going to get a shirt, everybody's going to get a medal, everybody's going to get a sandwich and a cookie and a bag of chips. And we have a new local beer sponsor. We've had Long Trail in the past, but we struck a deal yesterday with Jack Abbey, who's located in
Framingham.
Yep.
And as we discussed at the Selectmen's meeting, we're going to have a cordoned off area where people can enjoy their beverage, but I think it'll be fun to enjoy something more local.
Have you tried their beer yet?
I have tried their beer. They have tastings in Framingham.
And they have
I think
tours,
on
too.
Thursdays, yeah. I tried their Bock, and I think it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I had 2 samples, went home and took a nap. It was great.
I wanted to ask how big the samples
No,
were.
they weren't that big, Joe. They really weren't that big.
Yeah.
But no, it's. I'm not a big beer person.
Okay.
Maybe I drank my share in college, but my wife's one of those few people I think who can enjoy her beer and her ice cream at the same time. I can't do that, but some people can.
There you go. There's a Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavor coming up now.
There sure
Sometimes
is,
the
I'm
The beer
sure.
ice cream. There it is.
But
Well, it's nice to have a real local company that's going to be
Yeah,
doing it for
yeah,
you. I mean,
yes,
they are
absolutely.
growing there in Framingham, so it's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Nice to support that.
And it's going to be bottled beer, which I think is interesting. I expected they would provide kegs, but they prefer to provide bottles, which I didn't even know they had bottled beer. So
Wow,
you know,
I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's good
They
to know.
sell. When my dad was up visiting, we did a tour.
Oh, you
of,
did?
of
Okay.
of the brewery, and it was very interesting. And yeah, they have bottles and kegs, and they actually distribute now to a number of different states. So
Right.
good. I think it's good for them, and great that you guys were able to work something out to support a local company.
Yeah, no,
So.
we're looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to the day. And
registration is still open.
registration
so
is wide
if
open.
people want to run.
Yep, ashlandhalfmarathon.com. Click that registration button. Look forward to a great turnout. We're going to have a lovely young lady do the national anthem. She has a band, so we're going to have a band there. And
Can you tell us who it is or not?
no,
yet? It's a surprise.
I can't. It's a surprise because I don't have the name yet. I know I have the contact person. I don't have the name yet. Waiting for their logo and more
Okay.
specifics about the
Well,
band.
we'll look forward to that.
Great.
And are you still looking for volunteers to
We're-
help
we're
out on the race course?
Always looking for volunteers. We know you folks.
Yep.
I think every member of the Board of Selectmen, including the town manager, have helped out in the past, be it a water station along the route, handing out bananas and water at the
Yeah.
end. There's a lot of things that happen during that day. The Greater Lions, those ladies, they only complain when we don't give them enough work. And the Lions themselves will be very much involved in this year's race. So
Good.
we've got a great group of volunteers, pretty close to 100 people have volunteered so far. So I think that's what helps make it a community event. And I think the half K is more for the community. The half marathon are for those who are willing to torture themselves on Green Street and along the route. But,
and Cedar Street too, because that's an incline all the way up,
Yeah,
and a lot of people didn't realize that until they ran it. And then this is a tough race.
It's a tough course.
It actually is.
tough
I mean,
course.
if you look at the course, there's a lot of hills.
You know, a lot of hills. I mean,
Yeah.
the first year you did it, I remember people saying, and I was behind. They were behind me in line, and I can't do this again.
But they'll
My
be back.
calves are burning, but they'll be back.
They'll be back
yeah.
to torture
They'll be back.
themselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you know, we'll have some local vendors at the expo. We'll have some national and regional folks. But you know, we have a local photographer. We have a local company that's going to provide the sandwiches. So you know, we try and keep it as local and expose what we have here in Ashland to anyone else here in the state, the region, whatever. So we try and make it a race for everybody.
Good.
And it's nice that you started out small, because now some of the corporate sponsors that you just were talking about, they're here with the grassroots, and it'll grow with them, and it'll be part of their
And the
culture and
501c3 helps with that, Joe. You know, when you can
Absolutely.
show them that IRS
Yeah.
letter, that helps a lot.
Right.
Big time.
Yeah,
Big
and,
time.
we
say that with Ashland, it's the same way. Oh, you are? They don't realize that, and then you just give them the paperwork. They'll do anything they can for you.
Yeah.
And I want to appreciate the fact that you set out a new race course for me, which is only 100 yards.
Ah, okay.
Steve and I are going to race. So if you want to come and watch that ought to be,
That,
you know,
that should be entertaining.
that should be
that'll take
entertaining.
us at least an hour.
But you got to be off the course by 3 o'clock, Joe.
I look forward to coming and cheering you both on.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I can limp for 100 yards.
Yeah, so can I.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Steve, thanks for coming and
Thanks for having me.
talking about the Ashland Half Marathon.
Okay.
Good luck. Hopefully
Thank
we can encourage a few more people to run,
I hope so.
and we will see you on race day.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you,
Joe.
Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work.
Stay tuned, and we will be back with Chris Briggs from the Comprehensive Plan Committee. We'll be right back with Around the Clock. Welcome back to Around the Clock. We've changed it up. Joe stepped out for a little bit, but we've brought in Chris Briggs. Chris, thank you for coming to Around the Clock.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And Chris is here as a member of the Comprehensive Plan Committee here in Ashland. Before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because you're probably a new face. People might not know who you are.
Well, I've been around Ashland for quite a few years, as we were talking earlier, and I had an interest in giving back to the town as well, as far as part of the Comprehensive Planning Committee had applied. They actually had to vote on us and get us on the committee. So, but I've been around Ashland pretty much all my life. I was in the military for a while, so now I have a little more free time with my daughters being older and starting here on the Comprehensive Planning Committee.
Great. So what are some of the things? I'm on the comprehensive plan with you on the committee, and let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've done to get to this point and then what's coming forward.
Okay. Well, we've had a lot of dialogue. We have a lot of interest from the group members that we have. I wasn't familiar with any of the people on the committee itself, but we've now really got into the details as far as outreach is probably where we've really headed in this direction right now. Going to the local schools, when they have the open houses we've also went the other night, we went out to the community center, myself and Florence, to hand out some of the flyers for the community forum that we have at the end of the month on the 27th.
Right. We also had our 2 focus groups in August where we invited specific people from town employees and specific committees to sort of start the conversation and to help us sort of map out what we're going to do as we go to the community visioning forum that's happening in October.
Exactly. Yes, it's kind of given some broader perspectives on where the town would like to go, not necessarily a narrow focus, but
right.
And again, that was interesting, and that was involved a lot of the town employees as well, and the committees in town, not the general population for the residents where we're kind of headed now.
Right, so that's what's coming up on Monday, October 27th, where we're reaching out to the community to say, come give us your input about the updated comprehensive plan. Where do you want to see Ashland? What is your vision of Ashland? And as you said, we've done some outreach, different things. And then the next steps after that will be having another forum once we sort of take all that information from the citizens and start writing what that vision is or what they say for Ashland.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
So what are some of the things that are included in a comprehensive plan?
Well, looking at the back of the flyer that we have here, you know, some of the real heavy items has to do with housing, affordable housing and open space, and transportation and circulation, which we've seen with the ARA has been involved with 126. So those are some of the major areas. Land use and zoning. Zoning seems to be another common theme, whether folks want to have more building in town or less building, or just sustain what we have. So those type of topics always generate a lot more feedback that people are more passionate about. So
yeah, and we're really looking for, we have a lot of people who do a lot of volunteering and who are very vocal and who give a lot of input into the community. And the one thing I see with this particular forum on the 27th of October is we're looking to get people who may not feel like they want to take a lot of time to get involved, but we're looking for their input to say, okay, this is what I think the vision of Ashland should be based on my time living here, and whether it's a short time or a long time. And what's nice is one of the things we're going to do in that forum is we're going to have a map, and people are going to put dots where they live and how many years they've lived here, because I think we're going to find that even though there's a lot of people who have been here their whole lives or on and off their whole lives, there's a lot of people who have been here 20 years or less who do feel strongly about what they want to see Ashland look like.
And I think the demographic piece too, we're reaching out again to, I say, senior citizens at the community center we've touched. Obviously a big piece of it is the education with the school system in Ashland, which you're very familiar with. So whether it's young parents or parents that, you know, their students, their children have been in school for a number of years, are getting ready to leave, but to get a bigger cross section. Whether it's a different religious background or where they live in town as well, not necessarily downtown, which is another topic that's generated a lot of energy, but if you're on the peripheral of the town or on 135, so you're getting different ideas and different thoughts from different people.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a lot of input, and I think it'll be a positive thing for the community.
Correct.
So Chris, before I let you go, and I did not prepare you for this question.
Okay.
When someone new comes to the show, there's always one question I ask, and that is there something about yourself that people who know you or people here in town may not know about you that you'd be willing to tell us?
Something. I mean, probably a lot of people are not aware of. I mean, I like to exercise a lot, and I also will spend a lot of time around the Ashland Reservoir. That's probably my area that I really enjoy, whether I'm doing a light jog around the reservoir or I've taken my dog down there or the family. I will swim, and at least once a year I'll also swim across the Ashland Reservoir from the boat landing. It's just over a mile. So
from where do you go? From the boat landing on Spring Street
correct.
To where?
All the way to the dike, the long way of the reservoir. Yeah, it's just over 1 mile. So that's
like middle of the summer when it's the warmest, or?
It depends. I mean, I try to work up to it. After several months, I feel like I'm ready to do it, and then grab the dog and.
Does he swim it with you?
He'll go to the shore occasionally because he does get tired. So yes, he'll be with me most of the time.
And we are very fortunate to have the reservoir and the state park and Northeastern allowing people to walk through there and take their dogs. It is a great resource here in Ashland.
Very, very nice. Good place to fish, just relax. And now with the foliage,
it's beautiful over there.
Take the opportunity to get down there and see it. So.
Well, good. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Through that little question there. Thanks for watching Around the Clock, and thanks for Chris for coming in and talking about the comprehensive plan. If you want to get any more information on the Comprehensive Plan Committee, you can go to planashland.mapc.org, or we also have a Facebook page called Plan Ashland. So that's it for this segment. Please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
I have a brain tumor. I forget how to walk. I need a new heart.
Every year, over 1,000 kids will spend Halloween in Sick Kids Hospital. They will miss out on time that could be spent with family and friends. Your donations can help sick kids get children back home with their families where they belong. Please visit our website or call in to donate today.
Because there's no place like home.
Well, welcome back to Around the Clock. We have a quick sports update for you. We don't have our full scores or how the different teams are doing, but if you'd like to see some footage of our teams in action, you can go to WACA-TV and you can see it all online, or you can always check out the schedule and go see it live. We do have some footage of our cross-country team in action. They got a little wet, but here's some footage of them running. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that footage of our cross-country team. Maybe it inspires you to run, or maybe go and watch the team run in person. The last bit that we have for you today from a sports event is from a football game and a very impromptu singing of the national anthem. The singer was Maze McMahon, who is the daughter of one of our Ashland guidance counselors, and she was asked at the last minute to sing the national anthem. She's only in 5th grade. So enjoy this version of the national anthem.
Now we're going to pause for the Star Spangled Banner. I think we're going to have a live version.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
She gave it everything she had, Steven.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Wow.
That was great.
That's an Ashland High girl.
I love it when they do it live and with the sunset and the little.
Well, it's that time of the show where we need to end. We've had a lot of great guests. I want to thank both Steve Greenberg and Chris Briggs for coming and speaking with us today. And I want to give a special thanks to Joe for keeping me company here today.
It was my pleasure.
It's always nice to have someone to talk to and share ideas with and just get information out to the public. So any last thoughts as we head out today?
A few things. Again, this was a wonderful show. I think Steve provided a lot of information about the Affordable Housing Trust and the Affordable Housing Committee, along with the marathon race that he's doing. I know Chris has done a good job with his presentation that he did and the discussion that you had. I just wish everybody well. I just want to do a quick comment about Ashland Day, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It was on the 20th of September. It was a fantastic day weather-wise, but it was a great turnout for everybody. And we had a lot of activities going on that day, from Farmers Market to the car show at Fenwall and to Ashland Day, and each one complimented one another. And it was the best we've had in the 29-year history of Ashland Day. So I'd just like to thank all those who came out to support the committee, all the vendors, and all the food merchants from town who came and just had a great time. There wasn't one bad thing that I've heard from any of the vendors or any of the people that came, and we were constantly busy. I didn't even have a chance to come by and say hi to you guys.
I know, we didn't even get to talk to you.
But it went very, very well. And
well, I think congratulations are in order for the Ashland Day Committee. You guys do a great job, not only for Ashland Day, but other things through the summer. Now here's the big question. Next year is 30.
I know. We're seriously contemplating dissolving the committee.
What?
Yeah, they're seriously contemplating dissolving the committee and getting some new blood in.
Let's not dissolve it. Let's see about recruiting some new people.
We're always
and
looking for new people. We're always looking for new people, and that is something that we'd love to do. We're looking to do, fireworks this year, and those are always an expensive item, even though everybody loves them and this and that, but it takes a lot of work. So we start in January with the paperwork with the state through DCR, because we would like to use their property even though it's in town. So it's a long process to start. To do something in September, you have to begin in January, but I don't have to explain that to you. You know the process. So we look forward to it. So if you can support us that way, that would be great. We have the Halloween parade coming up October 24th.
Yep.
Which is our annual parade, it's just a lot of fun watching the kids doing it. And we're setting up, if you don't mind, we're setting up right along Front Street. So we use the location just to get people to know where the farmer's market is, but we're actually in the parking lot. Okay. We're not on the property of the farmer's market. I don't want anybody to get all upset about that, because there already was some concerns like, well, we didn't know about it, but we just use that as a location point.
So just a point. It's not the farmer's market property. It's the Ashland Redevelopment Authority. So I think if
Yeah.
But what's different is, because I know when my children were younger, we started at the Pidway School, and we walked all the way around. So now you've changed it to just be on, so that you're all on the same side of the tracks.
Yes, and that's the reason why. I mean, years ago there wasn't much train traffic, and now because it's tripled the amount of traffic because of the MBTA trains that come through.
Right.
We don't want to have to break up the parade and worry about kids crossing or trains coming and going with that large group. So we made the decision, even though it wasn't a favorable decision by many of the families, because they like the longer walk to get the kids tired. We decided to do it right on Front Street. So, and it makes it safer for everybody, because it's just a fun event, not something that we want to have something happen and make it unfavorable for everybody. So if you understand that, that'll be great. The prizes are still there. Everybody still gets their goodie bags. And we even ask parents to dress up too, that go along. So we may have a surprise for the parents this year, who comes up best dressed as parents. So hopefully that'll work out well. But I want to thank you, young lady. Thank you for having me as a host, guest host. It's co-host. It was I've always enjoyed it.
Good. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Around the Clock. And hope you've enjoyed the show. And we'll see you next time.
Bye now.